Hello, my name is Alan Vaughn, and today we will be talking about linked open data in libraries. I will explain what the concept of the linked open data is and how this concept can be implemented within libraries and other information institutions. Now, there are many different benefits to implementing linked open data within libraries and other information institutions, and I will discuss these benefits at length as well today. Now, to start with, we'll first discuss linked data and exactly what it is. Linked data is a set of design principles for sharing machine-readable interlinked data on the web. Now, this just means any type of data that is both legible to machines and to humans at the same time. Machine readable is behind the MARC format. That's actually where we get the word MARC from, is from machine readable catalog or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it goes. So that's what linked data is. It's machine readable interlinked data. Now, linked data is a core pillar of the semantic web, also known as the web of data, what we would just refer to as the internet. Now, of course, the web is about making links between data sets that are understandable not only to humans but also to machines, and the linked data provides the best practices for making these links possible. So again, the emphasis here is between information that is legible to both humans and to machines at the same time, and that is shared. Now that's where we get into kind of more the next concept. We have combined with open data, data that can be freely used and distributed, which open data is behind like open access journals and databases. It's this concept that it should be free and equal to get access to this information. Now you have open data linked with go with linked data, and it becomes linked open data, otherwise known as LOD. I'll refer to it back and forth as that during this presentation. So now that we know more about like what the concept of linked open data is, we're going to take just a brief look at what we think of as the linked open data cycle. Now this starts out with data that is created, whether it's an article or something, it's given a Uniform Resource Identifier, otherwise known as the URI, which is just a single global identification used for giving unique names to anything. Again, like I said, that's from digital content to real-world objects or anything in between. It's used to help distinguish between different things. From the URI, then we look at the HTTP access or HTTP protocol as just a mechanism for retrieving resources and for getting access to those resources. It expedites the publishing of data and adding it to the global data space. Now, like that's how we get the resource on the web. Now, once it's on the web, the next idea is to link it to more data that's similar to what this is about, so that once you go in and look at for one thing, then you have pulled up a lot of other things using like simple search engines. So the idea, again, just going through the whole linked open data again, is you use URIs as names for things. Then you use HTTP URIs so that people can look up those names. Then when someone looks up a URI, it provides useful information, including links to other URIs so they can discover more things similar that they're interested in. Now, it's important to remember when talking about linked open data that there is a difference between just open data and linked data. There's a tendency to conflate the two, but there is a distinct difference. Now, open data can just be made available to everyone without links to other data, while linked data is data that can be linked without being freely available for reuse and distribution. Again, that's talking about how, like an online database, we have access to it, but just because we're University of Missouri students, that doesn't mean everyone has access to it. So, when you talk about linked open data, it just means making this linked data open and freely available to everyone. Now that you have a firm grasp on what linked open data is, we're going to talk about how you can apply it within the library setting. The way this works is by turning library metadata into linked open data that is more easily accessible throughout the semantic web. Now, library metadata is just general data on like an item or a title. We're talking about the name, author, publisher, copyright date, that type of information, all this type of stuff that that is a descriptive kind of a title or material. That's the library metadata, or metadata as we would think of it. And it's described into the library catalog using oftentimes like MARC 21. There are some other formats, but MARC 21 is the most recent one, is the most universal one, especially in the United States. And it has standards that are applied by the Library of Congress, as well as through like the OCLC, both of which kind of work together to make these standards. Now, the problem with this data is that once it's transcribed and put in a recognizable form and then put on the library catalog, there's not much that can be done with it there. Most library catalogs are restricted to just search and retrieve, or you can just search a title or a name or whatever, and then find, like, if it's located there, you can retrieve it from the physical space, or sometimes they'll have a link where you can do a digital copy. That's about the best you can do. So the idea behind library linked open data is to have this data available on more than just the library catalog, having it also appear in search results for search engines, so that if you like Google Mark Twain or the Hunger Games or something like that, your local library listings would also pop up. And this could also be expanded to other information institutions. So say like if a local museum had a Mark Twain exhibit, the idea would be that like that would also pop up in your search results in order to like either provide access to this, or just so you know that there's another resource out there, so it's more visibility for these institutions as well. Now, there's lots of different projects behind linked open data. It's still most definitely a work in progress to do. So you have lots of things like, I know I looked at one is W3C, which is just like a consortium of different like academic and some corporate, it look like some public libraries as well, that work with this Digital Library Foundation, and they're all just collaborating together to make a linked open data. Same thing, OCLC has its own specific project just for linked open data. So it's a big thing in the library world, and it's definitely things that a lot of people are working on. The implementation, though, so far is just like kind of a local trial basis. Some libraries are doing more linked open data, others aren't. It just kind of depends on how their catalog works, their online catalog, as well as like talking about other things, factors like money and stuff like that as well.